Hello, everyone. We are going to do an impromptu career Q&A. I was able to clear my schedule to be able to do another one of these. Maybe you joined me yesterday for the Q&A I did yesterday. If so, you'll have another opportunity to ask questions. So I want to give people a few minutes to join into this because it's kind of a pop-up. I didn't announce this in my newsletter or anything, but there was such a response yesterday. So many people had questions. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to ask more career Q&A questions. And if you have friends or colleagues or former colleagues that you think might benefit from coming to this, it would be awesome to tag them in the comments. And if you tag them in the comments, they will be able to attend later because this is being recorded. So they'll be able to watch it whenever their schedule frees up. In case we haven't met yet, my name is Sarah Duty. I'm a UX researcher and designer, and also now turned founder and CEO of Career Strategy Lab. It's a career incubator that I run, and we help people really create a career that lets them live their dream life. Because I think a lot of times, we tend to think that we have to climb the ladder and we have to kind of sacrifice as we advance our careers. But based on what I'm seeing with the people I work with, we can kind of create our career and what advancing on our career means for us, most importantly, on our own terms. So maybe you're currently in management and you think, gosh, I don't want to do this, but I think I just have to stay in management to keep advancing. That may not necessarily be true. Okay, so the other quick announcement I want to give you is that next Thursday, August 10th, I'm hosting a workshop. And the workshop is really all about, and it's kind of ironic, it's all about how to take the principles that you apply to the products you work on and apply them to your career. So research principles, design principles, UX writing and content strategy principles, even sales and marketing principles. How do you apply that to your career? That's what we're going to do, because I think a lot of you are really stuck in the weeds and kind of stuck focusing on the wrong things. And if you can kind of refocus by thinking about how you design and create and market and sell products, you'll realize you can apply all of that to your career. So if you want to join me for that workshop next Thursday, I am going to put a link in the comments. I just have to do that on this other monitor here. All right, let me go here to the right place on LinkedIn so I can add my comment. Give me 1 second. LinkedIn is so slow today. What's going on? All right, please hold while LinkedIn catches up to me, I guess. Oh no, it says cannot find my profile. Okay, we're gonna retry. Okay, great. And now I gotta go to the comments. Okay, so if you want to RSVP for next Thursday's workshop, you can do so. All right, I'll add an emoji so it's easy to see. And then I'll get to your questions. Just so you know, this is super informal. I have no slides prepared. I'm not teaching you a specific topic or anything today. I just want to do super informal Q&A. So I am going to bring this window over here so we can see the questions more easily. And I need to go to YouTube to add the link there also, so that those people don't miss out and feel left out. All right. So I'm going to go to the questions here. No question is off limits. And to be honest, I might say, I don't know, because I don't know everything, to be honest. So let me see what questions you guys have, and then we will get started. All right, Suzanne is lucky to be first because that's the first one I see. All right, Suzanne wants to know, I'm coming from an advertising and marketing and art direction background with 16 years of experience. Okay. And you're working through Google's UX course with so many similarities in art direction, marketing, and UX. What's a good starting point from a UX role perspective? All right, that's a big question. So let me kind of rephrase it a little bit and give you some specifics. So yeah, if you've been working in graphic design, art direction, even interior design, architecture, branding, so many other design related things, there's a lot of transferable skills, meaning things that you did in your previous career that will give you the professional experience and or the knowledge to really succeed when you get into that UX role. It's not just kind of skills such as, understanding design principles. Like Susan, you know what hierarchy is and the importance of it, the importance of alignment and balance and contrast and all these design principles that are very timeless, regardless of what you're necessarily designing, right? So I think it's important to really make sure that your career materials, kind of like your career marketing materials, meaning your resume, your LinkedIn, your portfolio, etc., make sure that those really highlight these transferable skills that you have. Now, this applies to everyone. When you're earlier in your career and trying to figure out what type of company, what type of job should I look for, the fork in the road is really, if you don't know what you want to do specific in user experience, then I would really look for roles that are going to give you an opportunity to be exposed to many different types of products, many different industries. So in my career, very early on, I worked at a user experience kind of agency. And the benefit of that was that I was able to work on products in healthcare, in news, in finance, in travel, in many other industries to help me get a sense of, do I gravitate towards certain industries? Also different products. Am I more interested in business to business, business to consumer, enterprise, etc.? So Susan, that's one thing to think about. Now, if you want to focus specifically on UX research in the healthcare industry, let's say, okay, then that's going to kind of narrow your job search. So Susan, I hope that gives you some things to think about as you go off into your job search. The other little tip I'd give you is don't wait to start putting feelers out and be building relationships and making just kind of first versions of your resume and your portfolio, etc. Don't wait until you, quote, graduate. You want to have that stuff somewhat in a MVP format, let's say, because you don't want to wait until you graduate. Plus, if you do it as you're working on projects, you will remember all the details that you want to highlight in those projects. So Susan, I hope that answered your question. Okay, there are more, so let me dive in here. Shreyash. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. All right, you said Shrey. That's your name. Okay, we'll call you Shrey. Your question is, how can you learn user experience? Your user interface skills are pretty good. You want to learn user experience. I know this is not a good question. Want to know the correct path. Honestly, there are so many resources out there, free and paid resources. You might also find recommendations from people on this chat. So if you guys, everyone else attending this, if you have recommendations, reply to Shrey's question and put links to whatever program or resources you have found helpful, because there's so many ways to learn UX now that I have no clue what they all are. There's just new programs, new people teaching it, popping up all the time. So I don't have a comprehensive list. And I'm going to let everyone else on this Q&A today maybe drop links below your comment to give you some resources. I think great places to look: YouTube, really great. Some of the UX education programs, whether they're from universities or elsewhere, have both free and paid options. So you might want to start there. I know that's not giving you a specific website to go visit, but there's just so many options. I don't just want to tell you to go to one place. So let's see what everyone else comes up with. All right, let's see here. Okay. Bryson said, I've mentioned in the past on previous Q&As that a portfolio should not be like a quote slideshow, but rather have the portfolio tell a story. Your question is, what are some ways to improve your storytelling within your portfolio? Okay, after this Q&A, I'm going to come back and add some links below your comment to different videos and articles I have about this. But let me kind of clarify what I mean when I say a portfolio should not be like a slideshow. It should not just be a bunch of slides with screenshots of what you did, whether what you did is a survey and you have a screenshot of survey results, whether that's screenshots of wireframes, user flows, other things. Only showing deliverables and only showing kind of the what, that won't cut it. And when I say recruiters and hiring managers want to hear the story behind what you did, to me, the story kind of goes like this. So if you did a research project, I don't just want to know the what, meaning I did research, I made a survey, I conducted interviews. Okay, nice. The story element is I want to know, why did you need to do this research in the first place? Like, how did this research come to be? Was there an idea? Was there a problem? Was there something that led you to this research? So why did this research need to happen? And then let's get to the details. So why did you choose this research method? Was there timing or budget constraints that made you realize, oh, this research method would be most appropriate for this situation, right? So why did you do this? Why did you choose this method? How did you do it? Like, how did you go about conducting this research? It could even get as granular as, what types of people were you hoping to interview or participate in this research? How did you find those people? Where did you find them? What did you hope to learn from this research? Did you use specific software or tools or things to help you conduct and maybe even analyze and code that research after you were finished with it? And then what happened? Like, what did you learn from the research? How did the research inform what you did or did not do in the product? So Bryson, think about it like going through the 5 W's of journalism, who, what, where, when, why, how. Now, of course, there's some additional ones I mentioned there, but that is a good starting point for making sure your case study isn't just a big slideshow of deliverables that only address what you did and instead go deeper. And this applies to any of you. If you want to be seen as a more advanced, more thoughtful, more thorough candidate, whether you have 1 year of experience or 20 years of experience, doing what I just described will help you stand out because so many other people just say what they did. And if someone is looking at your LinkedIn or your resume or your portfolio and considering if they're going to invite you to an interview, and there's 2 candidates and one just says, I did this, I did that, I did this, and the other one does what I just described a few minutes ago, which candidate is going to stand out, right? So Bryson, I hope that answers your question. Let me know. Maybe just reply to your own question to let me know if that helped. So you can kind of keep things organized in the comments, although it's not ideal. All right, so let me go back up here. All right, Michaela said, I work as an experience designer for a large pharmaceutical company and have been a contractor with this company with the promise of being a full-time employee very soon. Okay, as of this week, you've been notified that the company intends to eliminate 5,000 positions and including some consultants and vendors. Okay, you're concerned you're going to be eliminated and you need to position yourself for a new UX role. Okay, you're in the right place, so don't freak out. How would you present yourself to stand out in the UX space to quickly find a new role? Okay. Thank goodness Bryson asked the question that he did, because that's going to help you tremendously. So what I just described, the who, what, where, when, why, how, what did you do, why did you do it, what research method, etc., that will help you stand out. This is also important because this is not just about making a portfolio. If you can answer those questions, that will help you be much more detailed and thorough and precise in the questions or in your answers, when you're asked questions in interviews. So I can't reiterate this enough, but the very act of making a portfolio, even if you never show it to someone, it helps you be so much more prepared in interviews. Not only that, this act of like writing out your case studies and making a portfolio, whatever that means for you, it's helping you have the clarity when you go into interviews. It's going to help you have the confidence when you go into interviews. And, over the long term, it really serves as kind of a catalog of your experience, because you might be working on something 3 years from now and you think, I think I worked on this project a while ago that might kind of relate to this. It kind of serves as your own like inspiration bank or catalog that you can refer back to. So for the immediate though, Michaela, make sure that your materials don't just scratch the surface of I did this, I did that. Explain what you did, explain the impact, etc. Now, you also want to apply that to your resume. And for your resume, you want to keep that from not sounding like a job description, because a lot of people's resumes just sound like I was responsible for this, I was responsible for that, I did this, I did that, etc. You don't just want it to say I was responsible for user research. Okay, that means nothing. What type of user research? Can you give us a few examples of UX research projects you did? And there's a big difference between saying I was responsible for conducting qualitative UX research through surveys, let's say. Okay, that's a little bit more specific than I was responsible for research, but could you give us an example of, you conducted a survey with 5,000 respondents, which helped you learn X, Y, and Z, which helped reduce cart abandonment by 5% or something. See the difference there? So think about how you could go back and update your resume or portfolio with stuff like that. The other thing I would say, Michaela, is go back and watch the live stream I did yesterday, because we talked about the job search a lot. And actually, in my podcast, for those of you that don't know, I have a podcast called the Career Strategy Podcast. I'll put it in the chat here. And starting June 26th, we did a 5-episode series all about the job search. I'm not going to link to each episode, but just check the chat because I just put a link to careerstrategypodcast.com. That will help you a lot, Michaela. All right. I hope that was helpful, though. Let's see what else. Okay, let's see. All right, this one, Segal, I hope I said your name right. You are coming from visual art directing or art education background. You have also completed the Google UX certification and have a UX career accelerator program, which provided real client work experience. Great. Okay, now you're looking for a job and you've been applying online. Or is there a way to actually talk to recruiters or an agency that does job placement? The lack of human communication has been frustrating. All right. You should also go back and watch that live stream from yesterday where I talked about the immense value in relationship building before and during your job search. We specifically talked about cold emails and the difference between cold emails and what I call lukewarm emails. And the way that you can achieve lukewarm emails versus cold is have a relationship with someone before you send them like a one-on-one email or message. And how do you form a relationship with someone? What I mean is become a familiar face on their profile on LinkedIn. And you do that by commenting, by liking, etc. Now, comments that just say cool, neat, thanks, that's not very interesting, right? If you leave thoughtful comments, that will start to help you become a familiar face to people so that when you do message them, they might be more likely to respond to your messages. I would also say that just because someone does not email you back or message you back, you should follow up. Even if that makes you feel uncomfortable to follow up, you need to follow up because people are busy. People are also experiencing layoffs in the HR, talent acquisition, recruiting fields. Therefore, the person you're messaging may no longer work at the company, or they may be overloaded because half their team was eliminated and now they have a lot more work to handle. So you never know. Hopefully that answers your question though. All right, let's see who else has questions. I'm trying to cover ones that aren't too repetitive here or honestly things that you could Google. So let's see here. Okay, Leanne, you also completed the Google UX course and want to take advantage of mentorship opportunities you found, but you're not sure how to get the most out of those sessions. Do I have any suggestions? You're not sure what's even on the table as far as mentorship, mentee relationship goes. I am going to find an article I wrote. Well, now that I said that, I don't know if I was on LinkedIn or my blog. So let me go to my articles really quickly and see. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to quickly search. Actually, I'm going to come back to your question and drop a link when I find it after this. But basically, like, let's do a little user research study with me as the person you're researching. So I receive requests all the time. Will you be my mentor? Can I have a coffee chat? How do I get started in user experience? The one thing I want you to really think about is you are more likely to receive a response from people if you are more specific with the questions you ask. So go into these mentoring calls or when you send an email and think about, what do you want to get out of it? What areas do you feel like you lack knowledge in? What questions have you Googled and not been able to get the answer to? Because you're going to be more likely to get a response from people if you say, hey, I have a question about, I don't know, I'm blanking, like something specific to your resume or to your portfolio or to the job interview process or something like that, versus just going to ADP list, signing up for a call with someone and getting on the call and not really having an agenda. You know what I mean? So you need to go into it with a bit of an agenda, and to figure out that agenda, you really need to spend some time thinking about yourself. Where are your knowledge deficiencies and gaps? And one way to do that would be to think about, like, what are the burning questions that you keep Googling that you can't find the answer to? That would be one of the things to think about. All right. Let's see who else has a question. Okay, Maria wants to know, when talking about UX research impact, how do you communicate it when this is not quantitative? Yeah, I think I really don't see a difference, honestly, because you could do qualitative research, like a survey could be qualitative. You know, if there's open-ended questions, that's qualitative research, right? If you're doing, diary studies or one-on-one interviews, in people's offices or out in the world, how do you communicate that? I don't really think there's a difference, when it comes to trying to add numbers and data, for example, to your resume. Maybe that's kind of your underlying question. You could highlight, how many people did you interview? Like, if you did a research project in 3 different cities with 10 people in each city, it would be great to include those numbers in the case study or resume, because that helps us understand the scope or magnitude of the research, right? It's a lot different to do research with one person than 3 cities and 10 person in each city, right? Because there's all the logistics involved and finding those people and everything. So Maria, hopefully that gives you some ideas. Quantifying what you did is not just about, I saved the company $1 million. It's not just about the final impact or outcome or result. Quantifying can also be about the what of what you did. So I want you to think about that, Maria, and maybe that will give you some ideas on how you can quantify the qualitative research that you have done. Let's see. All right, I'm just checking out a few more questions here. Where are we? Okay. Ramsey wants to know, if you are in desperate need of a portfolio update, is it better to wait to apply to that job until your portfolio is ready, or to apply and concurrently work on your portfolio? Okay. I love this question because so many people say, I can't apply to jobs until I have 3 projects or 4 projects or 5 projects in my portfolio. I would say not true. And I say that because in the career coaching program that I run, Career Strategy Lab, we see people all the time put posts in our community where they say things like, and I'll paraphrase, I only had one project in my portfolio, and it was kind of like in half finished format, and I still got an interview and I still got hired. Or I only made it through the first, draft of my resume. I still applied and I got interviews. So, what I'm trying to say is you need to, Ramsey, think about what is the minimum viable version of your resume, of your portfolio that you could get out as soon as possible. Because you could very, very well get interviews or job offers with a minimum viable version of those things. And I know it's super difficult to not chase perfection because I myself have moments every single day where I'm like, this does not need to be perfect. Step away, right? But think of the minimum viable version, because if you do everything that we talked about in the beginning of this live stream, focus on not just what you did, why you did it, how you did it, etc., that will instantly help you stand out. Because I know after seeing thousands of portfolios at this point, most people's portfolios only scratch the surface. So if you take the extra 15% effort to go below the surface, you will stand out. Ramsey, I hope that answers your question. I would say get started today if you can. Yeah. Don't stress out though, because you can get hired with a minimum viable version for sure. And if all of a sudden you do get interviews, I would just be honest with them. Say, I'm so excited for this interview. I have to say, I'm in the middle of updating my portfolio. I'm going to show it to you anyway. And don't feel bad, or don't talk down about your portfolio. Just be like, look, this is a work in progress. I'm going to show it anyway. I'm super excited about this work. And then they have the context and they're going into it thinking, okay, this is a work in progress. You know what I mean? So Ramsey, I hope that answers your question. Let's see. I think I have time for one or two more. So I'm going to go back through and see what we may have. I'm actually also going to go to YouTube and see what's happening over there. Okay. Let's see here. I see more questions. All right. I'm looking for more questions. Okay, we answered that one. A couple of people have asked about what are my thoughts on AI in product design and what that career path looks like. I have no idea, to be honest. No idea. I just haven't had time to dive into the career paths related to AI, to be honest. So I am not the person to help with that. Maybe other people, if you know, then go find those questions and reply back with any resources you have about careers related to AI in UX and product development. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. Olivia says, this will be our last question. Olivia says, do you think freelancing within UX roles is a good way to get more work? As a person with 10 years of design experience, you've been getting more interviews, but you're unsure how to pivot yourself for more full time. Okay, so I think what you're asking is maybe you're currently working or maybe you're not working, but is freelancing a good way to get more work? I would say absolutely. Freelancing is such a great way to quickly develop skills that you didn't already have, like client management, timeline management, writing contracts, dealing with stakeholders, sending invoices, like all these things that you don't really think about if you're working at a company and they're paying your salary and, they're dealing with all the kind of operations side of things. So I think it's a great thing to do, not only for those reasons, but also because it opens the door for you to do UX and product design or research, whatever you do, beyond what maybe you've done before. So maybe you can do a freelance project in an industry that you haven't worked in before, or for like a B2B product, because your career so far has really been focused on consumer type products. So, Olivia, I think it's a great opportunity. The one thing I would say is make sure you have a contract and don't do any work before the contract is signed. And I don't personally have a contract that I can give you, but just do some Googling and you will find a lot of different resources. Also, check out this website. It's called Double Your Freelancing. This is like a course, articles, videos, maybe some like free downloads, I don't know. All about like the practice and business of freelancing, not just specific to user experience, but what they teach could be applied to anything, to be honest. Great resource. All right. You are welcome. Okay, one more question here. Shruti wants to know, what's the best way to get interviews? You have 1 year of experience and you think you have a pretty decent resume and portfolio, but you don't get any interviews. Okay, I have an article for you. Where is it? It's this. I have to Google myself just a second. I wrote this article for Fast Company, which gives you ideas if you are applying to jobs and not getting interviews, or if you're getting interviews and not getting job offers. This article would be really valuable. Let me just reply. Okay, so here's the Fast Company article about how to, it's basically how to troubleshoot your job search. All right, there is that article. And I think that is all the time we have for today, because I have to run off to a meeting. But thank you all for these awesome questions. I loved answering them, and I hope that it gave you some clarity about your current or future job search, or what you can be doing now to help be more strategic, you know, for your short or long-term goals in your career. Also, don't forget, next Thursday, I am teaching that workshop, Product Strategy for Your Career, where we are going to dive into how to, ironically, take what you do in your everyday job in terms of UX, design, writing, research, sales, marketing, etc., and apply those to your career. So I would love to see you at that workshop next Thursday, Product Strategy for Your Career. And I think that's all. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world. And don't forget, if you think that you have friends or colleagues or former colleagues or family or whomever that might find this valuable, tag them in the comments, because then they'll be able to watch this recording afterward, because it'll be on LinkedIn for a while. All right. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you later.